Welcome to an all-new Tales from the Dorkside. I am Brad Reed.
Yes, that's right, and I'm Gog, everyone.
You all, everyone.
You all, every person. You all, every werewolf.
You all, everybody. People who have never seen Lost are like, shut the fuck up.
And people that have seen Lost are probably like, shut the fuck up. Yep.
Oh, whatever.
We're not going to.
No. Well, yeah. If you came here to listen to us shut the fuck up, you need to go elsewhere.
Yep.
Because we actually, we have a few movies to talk about today.
Indeed.
And this, you kind of alluded to it already. Our theme today is international werewolves.
Yes.
Do you think international werewolves are like a little bit more like sophisticated? Do they drink with their pinky out?
Oh, probably so.
I bet they are.
They have a lot less guns, I would imagine.
That's probably good for them, right?
Yeah.
It's good for the international vampires.
Silver bullets.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, they're doing good internationally. Now, and here in America, they're probably like, nah, everyone's
strapped. You don't
strapped.
see a lot of werewolves in America. It's just the sheer amount of guns that we have.
Yeah. Just off the top of your head, Gog, do you know of any American werewolf movies you love? I'll throw a few out there if you want.
Go for it.
There was Silver Bullet back in the day. That one was a Stephen King story and featured Corey Haim.
Yes.
Did you see that one? Did you ever see Silver Bullet?
I did not.
Oh, wow, Gog. You need to when we get back, when we circle the globe and we get back to America, we might have to throw in some American werewolf.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen a ton of werewolf movies, which, it's no particular reason I enjoy a good werewolf story, but I did like the werewolves in What We Do in the Shadows, the movie version that the show was based on. Had Reese Darby.
Yeah.
He was saying, we're werewolves, we're not swearwolves.
I don't know if I'm going to allow, I won't allow werewolves that have been in Twilight. We're not going to allow that.
Okay.
Throwing that out.
Fair. Yep.
But let's see. There was the Howling movies. Did you ever watch any of The Howling?
No.
The first one, this was like back in the 70s. Dee Wallace was the star. If you don't know who Dee Wallace is, you would recognize her from some Rob Zombie movies.
Gotcha.
She's like one of the kind of the OG actresses that he likes to feature in his movies, such as she was one of the were they witches in the ladies that lived in the apartment?
The Salem.
Yeah, in the Lords of Salem, were they witches that lived in the apartments? I think they were, right?
Don't remember. That movie was very confusing to me.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it, but it was more of an art film.
It was like Rosemary's Baby for Baby for
Baby.
The Rob Zombie, but she was in that. So anyway, the Howling's a good one, and then of course we're not going to talk about this, even though it is international. One of my favorite werewolf movies of all time, Gog, An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Did you see that movie?
Yeah, I've seen that one. And then there was American Werewolf in Paris.
In Paris, yes. Tom Everett Scott, I believe.
If I remember correctly.
If that's his name, was the star of that one. That was like a late 90s, early 2000s movie that it wasn't bad. Remember, it had the song from Bush.
Yeah.
That was a good one. It wasn't the greatest of movies. I remember it, but it wasn't bad. American Werewolf in London, though, might have to go like up on my top of all time werewolf movies.
Yeah.
And there's another one. Go ahead.
I was going to say the Underworld.
Yes, the Underworld
franchise and the Halloween special that Marvel did.
Oh, that was
great.
Was it Werewolf by Night?
I think so.
Yeah, that one was really good. That one That one left me wanting way more of of that character and that whole story. I hope they do it. I really do.
Yes.
Because that one was a great one. Yeah.
Be a good move for them for sure.
There was a Jack Nicholson werewolf movie. I think it was just called Wolf or something like that. And then there was Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, yeah. That's like probably the most well-known of all the werewolf movies.
Yeah, Leonardo and Jonah, they're both werewolves, and
the scene when they're driving the Lamborghini and crashing it into it because they're turning into a werewolf while they're driving,
Yeah.
It's very hazardous to be in a vehicle on a full moon if you have werewolf-like tendencies.
And you're full of barbiturates.
Yeah. That might be a good thing for a werewolf, though. Maybe that's something that they could take into consideration. If you are, a werewolf and you're going to turn on a full moon, just take a bunch of sedatives yourself before you have the chance to. And that way, when you turn, you're just kind of laying around. Maybe get some kibble.
Yeah. Jonah Hill's mounting everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's jump into the ones that we're going to feature today. Okay. And the first one, it kind of is a werewolf movie, but not really. But it's called, and if you haven't seen it, I'm kind of spoilering it like right off the bat, but it's been out since 2002. So if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. Okay. But it's called Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yes, indeed.
It's a French movie. And
can you pronounce the title in French?
Oh, no. I couldn't do it. Can you? Did you hear it?
Oh, they said it. It was in the credits at the end, but I can't remember for the life of me what it was.
Let's see. Like, you say, what's some French words here? You got, croissant? Oh. So, Brotherhood of the Wall.
Le Pacte de Lips.
That's pretty good. I think to pull off the perfect French accent, you just got to kind of rest your mouth like blah 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 blah.
Je m'appelle Le Pacte, and you're gonna have your nose is almost stopped up. You're trying to talk out of your nose, but it's coming out of your mouth instead.
And you got to have a little bit of just kind of a general hatred for everyone. I feel like the French are kind of hateful.
I will not back up that statement.
It's true. It's true with their freedom fries. This movie came out in 2001, Gog, and I remember when it came out, I wanted to go see it at the theater, and it wasn't widely released, but they did do some screenings here in Oklahoma City, which I was very happy about. One of the things that I loved about this movie was visually, especially in 2001, they were really going hard with I feel like filming things maybe in 60 frames per second and then kind of slowing it down and getting all these really great shots and all these pretty shots. Cause it's throughout the French countryside. And, so just did it, strike you visually watching this movie?
Yeah. Yeah, and they did some cool, the fight choreography was really cool too, and they did some weird trippy scenes that were pretty interesting. Some of the effects were pretty 2001-ish, but I think that's just a matter of it being the times, and that's about as good as visual effects were back then.
Yeah, I agree with it. At the time, it was pretty good. But I felt like at the time they were embracing some of that kind of action kind of film, the way that they were filming things cinematography wise, and it looked really cool. It's a movie. So the movie is directed by Christophe Gans. I do know enough about France that you wouldn't pronounce the S. I'm pretty sure. It's a period piece, so it's set I don't even know back in the day.
Yes.
And
back in olden times.
The olden times.
1767.
Ooh, that was old. And it's about a guy who's been called in to hunt down a werewolf who's murdering people in the countryside. And so we're pretty much gonna go like full spoilers, right? I mean, again, it's been out since '02, so the movie like is very suspenseful as far as the wolf goes, right? You get flashes of it.
Yeah,
it's moitering people,
right? And that's something I was curious about. How you feel like with monsters in movies, a lot of times it seems like they kind of hold off showing it, and I understand that does build up suspense, but do you prefer to see like more of the monster in action, or do you like kind of them holding it back like that? Not for this movie necessarily, just like in general.
Okay, so yes, so if I'm making a horror movie, I want to give you a little bit at a time, not a lot. And I'm trying to think, because there was a movie, I believe, that I saw recently that I thought, man, that was a great movie, but you got to see like everything right off the front. Like it was just right out there. And I was like, I don't know, like it wasn't, I'm trying to remember what the movie was, but either way, I like to have a little bit of a mystery there, a little bit of suspense. And I think that the not knowing is what's usually scarier.
Yeah.
Because once you see the boogeyman, I don't know, it's not, you're kind of maybe let down, or it's not what you built up in your head, or whatever.
It's like you don't want a metal song that's all breakdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Or pinch squeals.
Yeah.
But with this movie in particular, though, like they had to, because you start kind of finding out throughout the movie, like it follows. They're not kings or queens, but they're like lords, or right?
Yeah, like royalty or well-to-do.
They're
high society.
They've got their own little kingdom, but they still answer to the king of France.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they would probably be lords.
Yeah,
the lords and saviors,
dandies.
But so you kind of start getting some of the inner workings of their family too. And man, there's the guy Vincent Cassel. He plays Jean-Francois.
Jean-Francois.
He's like the brother, the older brother, I think, like of like the princess or whatever she is,
like the main love interest of the main character.
Mm-hmm. But
not the brother, the sister. But he also kind of looks like Matthew Lillard a little bit in this movie.
He does, but I was gonna say he is probably the one actor in this movie that you've seen in American movies as well.
Yeah, him and Mark Dacascos. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Mark Dacascos. I was like, I know I've seen him somewhere. And originally I was thinking it was he plays the Indian like companion basically in this movie. And I thought, I was like, I swore he was in the Mortal Kombat movies, but I went and looked at him, and it turns out there was a series on YouTube that a person was making before the new Mortal Kombat movie came out. And he played one of the characters in that YouTube series that was like a gritty.
Oh, nice.
Mortal Kombat reboot type thing.
Vincent Cassel, he was in movies like Black Swan, Ocean's 12, The Beauty and the Beast, like the live action one.
Yeah.
Jason Bourne. So, like I say, you've seen him in some American movies too. Maybe if you did, you might not have, somebody who's just a casual fan of movies may not have said, "Oh, that guy's, let me dig more into him." I think he's been more of a character actor here. But yeah, you were talking about Mark Dacascos.
Dacascos.
He was in John Wick, or I guess he will be in he was in John Wick 3. And you're right, he's also kind of somebody that you would recognize. He was in Iron Chef America. I don't know why.
That's random.
Yeah. But see, all of the kind of inner workings of the family and their dynamic ends up playing a big part in this movie as things go on, because you kind of start finding out that it's a little bit of a conspiracy.
Right.
And so I believe for a while, the thought throughout the movie was that Vincent Cassel's character, Jean-Francois, was doing some kind of like, spells or something to have this wolf kill people for him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Gog, remind me, because it's been a minute since I've seen this movie. It turns out that there was no wolf at all, right? Like he was orchestrating the whole thing.
He was orchestrating the whole thing, but there was
a wolf, but they had
a wolf.
They had like put like an exoskeleton on it and stuff, didn't they? To make it like a lot.
It was like he had gone off to Africa, and when he came back, he brought like this violent wolf, and that wolf had an offspring, and they trained it basically to be like a vicious killer.
Yeah, that's right.
And they put like a metal suit or something on it.
That's right. Yeah. And so, but it's just like I say, the whole movie's a great movie. I thought, with the action scenes, because it's a fight between the guy who came to initially investigate the wolf and everything that the king is sent to check this stuff out, and then Jean-Francois, who is a weirdo in this movie, like. Yeah.
Yep.
He has some things that he hides throughout the whole movie. His love for his sister being a big one.
That was a big reveal.
Yeah.
And I don't know how valid this is, but apparently, according to the IMDb trivia section, the actor originally didn't want to do the role, but they rewrote it, and when they added in all like the more twisted stuff and controversial stuff, he was more interested. So
he was like the French Joe Dirt. He was like,
"Oh, I get to play with my sister."
Yeah, he found out she wasn't his sister, or that he wasn't doing anything with his sister. He's like, "I'm out of this movie," and they're like, "No, she's just
like, all right, we'll add the sister stuff.
All right, you're my sister. You're my sister. You're my okay." You mentioned IMDb. IMDb, it got a 7 out of 10. And Rotten Tomatoes also similar with a 73%. So,
nice.
It did okay. I think a lot of the thing that's going to hold it back is that it's in French. Did you watch the subtitles or did you watch the dubbed version?
I watched the subtitles.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I like to watch everything, as we mentioned last week.
Yes, but just a heads up to anybody out there, it's when you have to watch a subtitle movie, you have to pay attention.
Yeah, you do.
And it is a 2.5 hour movie, so just be prepared to read for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and I felt like the reading though, with a lot of the action and stuff, was minimal.
Right. Yeah, there was a good balance between like just dialogue scenes and action scenes and visual things happening.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought it was really good. That was one of my favorite movies from that time, just because the story wasn't wasn't like. Of course, if you're listening to this and you go back and watch it, you're going to be like, I know everything that that's going to happen. But again, we warned you. But at the time, I thought that it had enough like surprises and stuff that I thought it made for a really good story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's an intriguing tale, and
even though it was not truly a werewolf movie.
Yeah,
because did you go in thinking it was werewolf, like, or did you catch it towards like how long into it were you like, okay, this isn't an actual werewolf?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't really put that together necessarily. Well, I guess that's true because it never transforms from. There was like a point where you realize that it's just a wolf.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, like I thought I kept throughout the movie while I was watching it, I kept trying to like figure out who done it. I'm like, oh, it's that character that's turning into the werewolf, or there was like one of the women that was part of that group of. I don't know what you would call them, like mercenaries or the actual Brotherhood of the Wolf.
The like Illuminati.
The ones with the claw hands.
Right.
Not like the rich people in the red robes, but the guys with the claw hands. So there was a point where I thought it was one of them, and then there was a point where I thought it was the main villain. But
yeah,
it was just Wolf the whole time.
I was messing up the ending because there was a wolf. It just like I said, this Illuminati group.
Yep.
Were basically using it to scare everybody into doing what they wanted them to do.
Yeah. They were trying to get basically control over the king because I think they were, if I remember correctly, a church group. Yeah. A group that was like with the church at the time. And so they were trying to orchestrate things to where they could gain power and influence over the king.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So where would you rank this movie, Gog? Most people gave it a 7, in the 70s. That's a C. I guess that's not too bad.
Yeah. I'd say probably more like a B.
Yeah.
80s.
I'd give it a higher B.
Personally.
For me personally, I would give it the higher of the Bs, probably like a 88 is what I would give it if I were going to give it. But I really just, again, with the suspense, with the twist at the end, I felt like for our international werewolf movies, this is a good one. And of course,
yes,
we invite everybody who's watching, listening, either or, to leave your favorite werewolf movies, especially if you know of any international werewolf movies, in the comments, please. Because there's probably way more werewolf movies out there than we've even mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
That people are like, oh, man, you need to check this one out. You need to check this one out,
Yes.
And
definitely leave us a comment. Let us know what we need to check out.
Yes. I would like for you to do that. Plus, while you're there, you can like, subscribe. You get notified when we put out our different stuff here. So the next movie that I want to talk about, though, is on Netflix right now. And man, this one, and I hate to even bring this up because people are going to be like, oh, that movie probably isn't that good. It got a 5.1 out of 10 on IMDb and a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. So like not great.
I'd say that I disagree with that.
I disagree heavy with it. Now, let me drop the title here. It's called Viking Wolf.
Or Viking Ulven.
Yeah. And when I was passing through on Netflix, I was kind of like, nah, I don't Viking Wolf. That sounds like something you might find like in the same genre as like Sharknado or, I figured it was going to be like the Viking TV shows with a werewolf, right?
Yeah. Which there is one really funny Viking show. This is completely off topic. Well, I guess it's called Norseman. I'm not sure if that's Viking or not, but
yes, I believe it
looks like it's shot in the style of those Viking shows, but it's like a spoof parody. It's also on Netflix. It's very funny.
I'm really
that was completely off topic.
No, you're good. I'm really bad about what country was Viking Wolf filmed in. I'm trying to look that up because I wanted to say it was like Sweden or something. Sweden. But whilst I'm trying to effort that, I will just say that this movie does not sound it's not a goofy movie at all. Like it sounds like the movie Viking Wolf, that title just kind of, I don't know, it just gives it a goofy feel to it.
Yeah.
But the movie itself is great. Like it has a great tone. I thought the cinematography was really good and appropriate for the movie. It's dark. But the other thing, the town of Nebo,
you can tell we're both very well versed with international geography and
yes. But the thing about it though is this movie is the first werewolf movie ever made, and it is Sweden.
Sweden.
So it's the first werewolf movie ever made in Sweden.
Therefore, it's the best movie, the best Swedish werewolf movie ever made.
Or worst.
Yeah.
Either way. Depends on what you thought about it.
Thing of your kind, you're technically the best and the worst until somebody else comes along and contributes to that category.
Yeah. But here's the deal. I stand by this movie because as the best that's ever come out of Sweden. Because and only, but like I say, the movie's just, I felt like the movie was a really good movie, and I was I felt like unexpectedly good.
Yes, I enjoyed it a lot. Like I think the only gripe I would have about it is that the CG on the wolf was a little off for what they're capable of doing these days, but then you also need to take into consideration like budget and things like that. So
yeah.
But like I said, that's the only thing about it that I really have that I noticed that like kind of stood out. But aside from that, like the story was fantastic. The acting, as far as I could tell, was great.
Yeah.
The gore was really well done. There were some pretty gnarly scenes of showing like the aftermath of the attacks and everything like that.
Yeah, I was looking up the actresses and stuff, but man, I'm gonna mess their names up so bad.
It's okay.
But like the movie follows a lady who is she's a cop, and she's investigating these moitas that are pretty gruesome. They already know like this got to be some kind of beast. But then they start finding out reasons why they start thinking that there's more to it. And it's basically picking off like her daughter's, not friends, but peers.
Classmates.
Yeah. I think some of them were her friends though. But basically.
Yeah, she had like the one kid was her friend.
Yeah.
Everybody else was kind of like treating her like an outsider because she was new in town.
Yeah, they had just moved.
There was a reputation surrounding her.
Right. So it's basically kind of following that mystery. Man, I don't really want to spoil this one because it's new and it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And so people can run out
to a minimum.
Yeah. People can run out and watch it right now. But you had mentioned like the
aliens come in and destroy everybody at the end. Oh shit. Sorry.
You had mentioned like the transformation scenes of the person to the wolf. I feel like, I don't know, like for me in werewolf movies, that's kind of to be expected in a way. Like I've never seen
I thought
one
the transition scenes were fine. I thought they looked good. It was just like the first time you see the werewolf.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see what you mean. Okay.
Because I didn't think the transition scenes were well done.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, and like I say, watching that one, like it reminded me of older movies like The Howling or something, where some of those, they look, I don't know, they don't look great sometimes, but it's scary because it's, you start thinking about, man, I used to back in the day, Gog, and it's weird. I might have been a werewolf at one point. I used to like, okay, so I grew up out in the country, and I used to wake up, like I'd have dreams that I'd be out prowling or something, right? And then I'd wake up, I have like scratches all over me. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Yeah. And then one time
I woke up in my hamper one time.
You did?
I slept walk and went and sat in my clothes hamper.
That's funny. Maybe I was just sleepwalking out into the woods or something, But I thought I was a werewolf for a little while. And
Do you think it would be like exceptionally painful to transition from human to wolf form, or do you think you'd just like something in your body would kick in?
Maybe like you release some kind of chemical in your brain that kind of eases but if this were really going to happen, right, your bones would be breaking and things. I would think it'd be very painful. Very.
I would imagine so.
Plus, like, here's the thing I like about werewolf lore is some movies have kind of done this to where like they could turn into werewolves at any time, but like typically, werewolves follow like the lunar calendar or whatever. So like they're coming out at full moon time. And so like I dig that like for the whole werewolf lore, because like it gives the story a chance to kind of develop where you don't have to have the werewolf there, but then it's got that impending doom that's coming as the a full moon is to be expected or whatever,
Right.
But yeah, the werewolf CGI in this movie was probably maybe the least great thing about the movie. Good news is you don't see the werewolf very much. Because I feel
it's not like terrible. It's definitely not like Scorpion King level bad. It's just it feels a little dated comparatively. But that's just something you have to take into consideration, I guess, when you don't have a huge budget. Is like how much of that do you allocate to special effects, and how much do you allocate that to like actors and set, like building sets and story and all that stuff.
Yeah. But like I said, overall, I thought really the tone of this movie, the way it looked, it was a really good, spooky werewolf movie.
My dad asked this question. Everybody knows my dad on this podcast now for reasons. But
should I say
my dad was asking like what would happen?
Should I say his catchphrase? Suck it back in.
Go for it.
Suck it back in. Like if you're a werewolf and you're turning into a werewolf, suck it back in. Go ahead, though.
Suck it back in. Yeah, it applies there. He was wondering what would happen if a vampire bit a werewolf.
Did we see some of that in Underworld? Did we see?
I believe so.
A vampire lycanthrope. I thought we did too. Yeah. I think you get like
a crossover
badass werewolf. Like, I don't want to see that. I wouldn't want to see that.
Right. And that's probably why you don't see it in movies a lot. It's like, that's just unstoppable. So what's the point of even watching that movie?
Yeah.
When there's, no way to stop it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other movies that have mixed a vampire with a werewolf. And I don't know that I have, but yeah, I mean, he'd already, so I don't know. 'Cause I almost feel like the werewolf would be more powerful than a vampire.
Yeah. So the vampire would have to be sneaky, or the vampire bites the werewolf when they're in human form.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, the werewolf has like special things where a werewolf could go out in the sun. A werewolf can do lots of other things that a vampire couldn't do.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is there's the potentiality that it would weaken the werewolf if they got bit by a vampire, or it would at least it would introduce more obstacles.
Yes, it would do that, but I still think it would. Okay, full moon, sun's down. You don't want to fuck with that vampire / werewolf.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But then it becomes like, does it like what would you throw up a cross at it, or would it be like
a silver cross?
Ooh, yeah.
Would you have to mix silver and garlic together?
But he might wolf down on that garlic. Like, I love that. I love garlic. Yeah. So that'd be interesting, though.
So it's easier to kill a vampire werewolf combination due to the werewolf's desire to eat the garlic, and you just mix in some silver, like some shaved powdered form silver, in with the garlic dish.
Yeah. But yeah. Like in a way, I say it weakens it, but I just say it gives it more ways that it could be killed that are more like a vampire. But man, I don't want to come across
more ways for it to kill.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what if that werewolf can fly now?
Yeah, fuck that.
So, and then it's sucking your blood.
Yep, sucking it back in.
Yeah. Now, werewolves typically on the werewolf lore, like they don't have to bite you; they just have to scratch you.
Yes.
So, would you turn into a werewolf or a vampire if you got scratched?
Maybe it would depend on the attack. Like if they bite you and suck your blood, then you turn into a vampire. Now throw another thing in the mix that if you get bitten, you turn into a zombie.
Oh God!
So now you have a zombie vampire werewolf.
A zombie vampire werewolf. Now this movie has gotten crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the type of movie that you would expect this to be based on the title, which it is definitely not.
Yeah, I really did. I thought this was going to be a period piece, Vikings from back in the day.
Yeah, which can be cool if done appropriately.
The only thing that it really tied into Vikings was like it had like a little backstory at the beginning on how it became,
kind of the lore of how it started. Yeah,
the curse of this werewolf. But then, like I said, everything about this movie to me was just a really good werewolf movie. A spot on. It had the suspense. You cared about the characters. Yeah. I told you last week,
and it had some good humor moments in it too.
It did.
Some good comic relief.
And I kind of told you last week, part of like with maybe foreign films, like one of the issues that I have is like, I don't know whether they're acting good.
Oh, right.
Or if they're just acting. And to me, I don't know the nuance well enough to know. But I felt like with this one, it really did come through very good. Like a very,
I agree.
And again, it was a serious werewolf movie. It just kind of has I don't know. Maybe the name. What did you say the name of the werewolf movie? Viking Wolf. Did you say the original name?
Oh yeah, it's Viking Ulven.
See, maybe that would have sounded better.
Yeah,
but like I say, don't judge this one just by the name because I get why anybody would. I thought the same thing. Like, man, no, this is just going to be goofy.
I wonder if that has anything to do with the ratings. It's like people had certain expectations going into it, and they're like, where the hell are all the Vikings?
I wonder. What's funny, though, is like that they would be like, I was expecting it to be that kind of goofy Viking movie, and it wasn't. And so they didn't like it, But I felt like this is, I don't know, it was almost like Scream with a werewolf.
Yeah.
But not quite as inside baseball as the Scream movies can be, where they've got all the wink winks to themselves. But which there's a new Scream movie coming out in a few weeks. Are you going to see that, Gog?
Well, I need to watch Scream 2 through 5.
You never saw 2?
I've only seen the first one.
Oh, Gog, I would have to say, and we're off topic a little, but that's okay. I'd have to say, if you only saw the first one, did you like the first one?
Yeah.
Okay. You won't be disappointed then if you don't ever see the rest of them. You know what I mean?
Just kind of unnecessary.
It was okay, but like, I guess you've made the choice not to see them, so I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a education on what happens. It starts going, okay. Do you remember the Nightmare on Elm Street where they were like making the movie about the movie and it was all meta and you're like, this is blowing my mind.
New Nightmare.
Yeah. That I always thought, of course I was a little younger at the time, so I was like, that just blew my mind. Wow. Scream tried to do it and I was like, it's been done. And then in the last one, I felt like, because the last one was not like a remake, it was kind of a reboot, though. And I felt like they were just trying to do a little too much wink, wink.
Yeah,
and it wasn't as good. I love the first one though. I love the first one, and I would really like for what we mentioned him earlier. He was in SLC, Matthew Lillard.
Oh, yeah.
I would love it if somehow he didn't die and they brought him back.
Right.
So That's my thoughts on Scream.
Nice.
Do you have any other closing thoughts on Viking Wolf and or Brotherhood of the Wolf?
Oh, not like off the top of my head. I think they were great. I did want to just ask you and see if you know of any, or like what you think would be cool, other were animals. Because we made a joke, we made the fake were hair poster and movie idea, but I'm not sure that I can think anyways off the top of my head of any other movies featuring specifically a transformation from human to a monstrous version of an animal aside from wolves. And I wonder why wolves were like what got picked.
Well, part of me wondered if that was like a Native American type thing, because Native American had like, skinwalkers and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
They also have like a woman who becomes a deer, like kind of entity. So I don't know, because I don't know if it maybe like other cultures. Obviously, we see Sweden has some kind of Viking werewolf mythology, or they could have just made that up. It's 2022, so people have heard of werewolves all over.
Yeah, and I'm sure it has to do some with the fact that back then, just wolves and were a pretty big danger and a pretty big risk.
Sure.
So like taking something that's already scary and then amplifying that into a story, stories have existed since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Not the beginning of time, but
Well, and plus like wolves are bigger, like they're, like, so you might not have like a weenie dog. But
like the person's like shrinking down. Like,
yeah. But wolves are pretty big. Bears might be too big. You know what I mean? So
yeah, a werebear.
Yeah.
And werewolf, just the two W sounds probably
true
helps.
I was gonna say I've got like chimeras. Like I haven't put the legs on this one, but I got this the other day. This is a gremlin from Gremlins 2 that's half gremlin, half spider.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a human that turned into a spider. So they
right.
So I'm trying to think.
If a human turned into like a regular spider, that would really suck, because you'd have a lot of shrinking to do.
Yeah.
And just get like this big. And then someone just steps on you.
We have movies where a human has turned into a fly.
Yeah. Like transformations that aren't reversible happen, like with Tusk is an example of that.
Well, the fly, he goes back and forth, doesn't he?
Oh,
or no, he doesn't go back and forth. He slowly becomes the fly. Yeah.
When there's like in Willow, there's the sorceress that is transformed into an animal.
Yeah. But not like what the werewolf is pretty. I feel like it's pretty unique in that way.
Yeah. Like it's a very certain set of rules. There, like it only happens during a full moon.
Yeah. In
order for it to be destroyed, you have to use silver. Like there's certain rules in place.
We went all this time. We were talking about great werewolf movies. We didn't mention Wolfman, like the original.
That's true.
The original one was great, and then that was kind of like that was a curse. He was cursed, right? By I don't. This is not like the proper nomenclature anymore, but back then they would have called her a gypsy.
Yeah.
There was also a remake of that movie with Anthony Hopkins and oh man, who's that actor? He's great.
Benicio del Toro.
Del Toro. He's not a bull in this movie. He is a werewolf. But that was a great movie too. I liked the remake. But yeah, that's an interesting idea though, because like,
are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
like Baxter?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because like if not, they should. Like there's been all kinds of werewolf movies now.
Yeah. So how do we take that idea and turn it on its head? Pick another animal.
Where's Scorpio?
Do it with like bobcats or there's other predatory animals, or you could do it with a non-predatory animal.
Yeah.
like a were hippopotamus. That'd probably be terrifying as shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, plus, I mean, if you come across a hippo in the water, they're not nice.
No, because they're what? If I remember correctly, they are like they eat plants. Their diet is plants, but they will attack you and they will murder you for fun, not for sustenance.
I guess Wonder Woman had like a were cheetah, or
oh yeah,
kind of, but but yeah, like, but what if it was just like something real benign, like
something stupid?
Yeah, like I'm a werehorse.
And he just acts like a regular horse.
Yeah. Like I turn into a horse and I'm just like, just kind of going around eating grass. You got to be, the grass should be fucking afraid.
Yeah. That's the movie.
Yeah.
It's from the perspective of the grass. It's like A Bug's Life, but just the blades of grass.
Yes. Yeah. The grass and the oats team together to take out the werehorse. We should have done our game
generator.
Yeah. Maybe the next time we play though, that'll be the thing. It's got to be some kind of were animal. Even though we did wear hair, that wasn't.
Yeah.
We weren't thinking about it like that.
Right. Yeah, and I can add an animal wheel.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do like a rapid fire round where we do like 2 or 3 different ideas with different animals.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely my recommendation. I believe you can go watch Brotherhood of the Wolf on Amazon Prime.
I watched it on Shudder. It prompted me on Amazon Prime to watch it on Shudder.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
And then Viking Wolf is available right now on Netflix. So
yes.
And of course our pods are, everywhere you can get podcasts, and especially on the YouTubes.
Yeah. Go check out the channel, smash that subscribe button, leave a comment. What would you like us to talk about? We may or may not take your suggestion. That's the exciting part, is you don't know if it's going to happen or not.
Yeah.
And if it does happen and you hear it, it's going to be fun.
Exactly. Yeah. But please do let us know about your favorite werewolf movies. Also, if there are any other animals out there that have been, it'd be great if there was were turkeys for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving 4.
Yeah. I pitched that idea on Twitter about the Macy's Day Parade.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Becoming sentient, and I never got a response. So I feel like that filmmaker is trying to kind of leave that legacy in his past.
I feel like he doesn't want to be great. You know what I mean? Like he's good, but he doesn't want to be great.
He doesn't love money, apparently, because that's a great idea.
Have we heard anything back on Clerk Sucks yet? Have we got any money yet for that?
No. Damn. Well, and I'm a little concerned because he just put out a statement saying that he's quitting weed.
Oh, his movies are going to be terrible.
Yeah. We're not going to get another Tusk. That was the brainchild of a very stoned Kevin Smith.
That's interesting though, because he has like all the weed brands out there.
Yeah, I mean, he was just in town. So I'm wondering if he smoked a little something too heavy and had a negative experience. I just, I didn't really read too much of it, but he posted something on social media saying that he was giving it up.
I wonder if he's going to quit smoking weed or quit ingesting weed altogether. Because, like, I could see, he's had a heart attack. Maybe he shouldn't be smoking at all. But he could still maybe do gummies or something.
There is an article that's why he did.
This is what you come to Tales from the Dorkside for, is horror movies.
And Kevin Smith news.
And Kevin Smith, whether or not he's smoking the ganja. Because that's what we cover here. That would be funny if we had like a weekly show that's like, what's up with Kevin?
Yeah. The Kevin Corner.
Yeah. While you're looking that up, speaking of Kevin, this has nothing to do with Kevin, though. You know what I've been binging lately? Ben Affleck movies. Ben Affleck, either movies he starred in or movies that he's directed. And
did you watch Daredevil?
No. Should I? Have you seen Daredevil?
I think so, but my brain didn't really hold on to those memories.
Yeah. I watched Gone Baby Gone, which he directed. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Oh my God, Gog. Get off here.
There's a lot of movies I haven't seen.
Yeah, get off here and watch this movie ASAP. Because it is creepy. It is a creepy movie. And he directed the shit out of that movie. He was great.
Nice.
Like his brother Casey is the star of the movie, but damn, that's a great movie. Also, he directed and starred in The Town. Did you see that one?
I don't know. Maybe.
Holy shit. I'm going to give you homework.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, anytime you ask me if I've seen something,
no,
probably not.
Okay. Write it down. Gone Baby Gone.
Gone Baby Gone.
The Town.
The Town.
And Gone Girl.
Gone Girl.
Have you seen that one? Probably not.
No.
David Fincher directed that one. David Fincher, who directed Fight Club, the Zodiac. And yeah, so, but another great movie that you will like. Man, and Gone Girl's kind of if you drew a Venn diagram of horror movies and suspense movies, this would kind of go together.
Okay.
So it's not completely out of what we should be talking about on our horror podcast.
Well, yeah.
So watch Gone Baby Gone
podcast.
Yeah.
But it's our podcast and we can talk about whatever the hell we want to.
Yeah. Plus, Ben Affleck's been in a lot of Kevin Smith movies, and we're talking about Kevin Smith right now. So
yeah.
But yeah, Gone Baby Gone, Gone Girl, and The Town. Those three you gotta watch.
Cool.
Yeah. And they're like on HBO Max and Hulu and all that. So.
Yeah. I did watch the newest episode. Well, no, there's a new one out today of The Last of Us. I've been watching that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't watch the last episode, but I'm excited to watch tonight's episode. I heard the last one was kind of a filler episode.
Yeah, a little bit. It was still good.
Yeah. I'll check it out.
But it was one that I could not have to pay like super hard attention to.
Yeah.
And still be able to absorb the information being presented to me.
Right.
So if anybody's curious about why Kevin Smith quit smoking weed.
Yes, hit us.
All right. The quote is, because I did it for 15 years now, and I just want to be present when I started smoking weed, kids. I had a very big wound in my heart, and weed was a really nice bandage that I put on top of it. And the wound kept getting bigger. And then I put on more bandages. And then one day I realized I was as bandaged up as a mummy, and I couldn't see clearly, and I couldn't hear clearly, and wasn't really present anymore.
Okay.
So
here's my thing. If you feel like you shouldn't smoke weed anymore, you shouldn't smoke weed anymore. Like everything in moderation. You know what I mean? So good for Kevin. I smoke weed. I've made it known on the pod and in my life. But I have to say, recently, I've been kind of not doing it as much just because I'm like, I smoke all the time. Like, you know, maybe I'll get high, quote unquote, by not smoking weed.
There you go. Yep. I tend to do it more for a nighttime activity.
Yeah.
Or, weekends, maybe during the day. But I definitely use it for relaxation and to help put me to sleep. And that does wonders for me personally. It might not be for everybody. And that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. It's not for everybody.
Not for everybody. Weed's not for everybody.
You all nobody.
We should do when we hit the big times and we have to do 10 different podcasts.
God,
we should do a Lost podcast.
I would love.
This is whenever somebody else is editing and we just have to walk into a room or call up on a Zoom and talk, and then that's the extent of our involvement.
Okay, I'm in because I could do 20 podcasts a week if I wasn't the main editor on the podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because if you think that's probably about an hour per show, 20 hours, nothing. You could do that in one day.
Yeah,
Get you 4 hours of hard sleep and then knock those babies out.
Yeah. I'm going to put them out in the world and then suck them back in.
Suck them back in.
Yeah, that's the end of the show.
All right.
Once I start sucking it back in.
Yep.
But yeah,
that's when we know it's the cue for us to turn microphones off before we say something even more offensive and get
hell
canceled.
Out of here. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Gog. Like I said, everybody, please let us know, what wolf movies you love, and then what you want us to talk about going forward. Because I guess we're about to come back to America, but I'm willing to stay in other countries if people have some ideas here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Although we had some ideas coming up. I think, did we have another movie scheduled yet? Because I think what we might do next, I think we might have to come back. I think we might come back home for a little bit.
Are you talking about a watch along experience?
Yes, because House of a Thousand Corpses is celebrating its 20th anniversary, Gog.
I hate to hear it.
I can't believe it because I can remember right now, like it was yesterday, getting that DVD and watching it at my apartment. Yeah. Like I couldn't wait.
Do you remember the DVD screen that would sit there for a second? Yes. If you waited long enough, Captain Spaulding would pop in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
And they had some bonus features. It was like, knock, knock. Who's there? Tiny fucked stump.
Tiny fucked stump. Yes, I love it. There's some action figures coming out for the 20th year release, which I'm excited about because anytime House of a Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects action figures came out, they didn't stay out very long, and so they're harder to find. But man,
we should do the watch along of the main movie, and then if we have, do you have the DVD of it? Or like a Blu-ray? We should do a bonus little mini episode that's us watching the bonus features.
Oh, okay. I'd be down to do that. We've talked about this before. I'm not much of like the bonus feature watcher, but I would like to. Because I know like people have pointed out some great stuff they've seen watching like the director's commentary and stuff like that. So yeah.
For me, it was like a mini version of film school. I'll say this much. It gave me a much greater understanding of how movies were made. Just watching bonus features, like behind the scenes stuff like that. So I always was one of those nerds that was into it, and occasionally, not like every movie, but would watch an audio commentary track if it was something I really liked.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm down. I do want to I still have the DVD from 20 years ago.
I think I might still have it too. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll have to look and see if I've got it.
But I do want to get the Steelbook version that's coming out.
Yeah.
And if you're not, people need to follow Rob Zombie on Instagram. Not too long ago, he was he was posting pictures of the original ending that supposedly got lost and nobody will ever see it. But he had some pictures that were just some different, originally they weren't in the pink Cadillac at the very end. They were in like a big box truck, kind of like, and it was a little different on that too, because Otis wasn't the one who popped up apparently.
Oh,
yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah,
well, if I can find my copy of it, I'll bring it over and we can compare discs.
Yes. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll definitely do the watch along of House of a Thousand Corpses, and because man, I feel like that's going to be a good watch along. I've seen it a billion times.
That movie.
Yes,
I've seen it. That was something, back in the olden days when you couldn't stream things, you have to get a DVD.
Yeah.
And so it was much more likely that you were going to watch this movie 10, 15, if not more than that, multiple dozens of times. And that was definitely the case with that one. I was obsessed with that movie. I was just the right age. I think I was either in middle school or high school. When did that come out? 20 years ago?
03.
Okay. Yeah, I would have been in high school because it's coming up on my 20-year high school anniversary reunion thingy.
It came out my first year I was working in radio. And I had moved out into my own apartment, and yeah, I got that. I was fucking baked. I loved it. And then, but I remember like I was following along because, you know, like the whole movie had been announced and for years, and then we were like, it got dropped by a couple movie companies and thought maybe it wouldn't come out. And then finally it did. And I was like, oh, and I was not disappointed at all. Like
oh no.
As much as I love The Devil's Rejects, which I love it a lot, I still think House of 1,000 Corpses is Rob Zombie's best movie. It's got to be.
Yeah, I'll say it's my favorite of his movies. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
That was another thing that was exciting about it when it came out was, you know, I was really into just rock music back then and Rob Zombie as a musician, so it was exciting, the prospect. And you didn't see that a lot back then either. You didn't see crossover like musicians going on to become like notorious filmmakers.
I'll give you a little bit of a Rob Zombie nugget here before we get out of here. I've met Rob Zombie a few times over my radio career and did an interview. I was filming the interview. I wasn't the interviewee. And in fact, that interview that I'm referring to, Jake Daniels interviewed him, and Jake Daniels was on something that, no, I'm not saying like substances. He was just on one that day. Like,
just in a
mood, and him and Rob Zombie were not getting along. Okay.
Ew,
and
that must have been uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was. Because it got to the point, John Five, who recently left Rob Zombie's band to join Motley Crue, I believe.
Motley Crue.
He had just joined Rob Zombie not too long before that, and he basically took the interview over because it got so awkward.
Ooh.
But there was like a little bit of a time where John Five was fielding some questions, and he was asked how, you know, was it better working for Rob Zombie than it was for Marilyn Manson? And John kind of was about to give like a, you know, yeah, I mean, you know, Marilyn was okay. He was a nice guy. And Rob was like, yeah, well, I don't piss on you during sets, do I?
Oh.
So.
Damn.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah. It was funny. So I'll leave you with that.
Thank you.
All right.
Perfect.
All right, everybody. Have a great one.
Peace out and dorks ahoy!
Now splash your face with water. All right.
Tales from the